This is Proper Football, the podcast where we talk about everything that encompasses the beautiful game. I'm your host, Paul, and I'm joined by former MLS ballers Rodney Wallace and Ethan White. What's up, gents?
What up, y'all? What's up? What's going on? How are y'all, man?
We're good. Today we got lots to talk about, including a little bit of Chelsea-Arsenal banter, some transfer window stuff. Internationals are going down. Pulisic signing for Puma and a bunch of stuff going on there. So, gentlemen, how are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm hyped. I'm hyped to get this started, but also hyped for the season, hyped with Arsenal signings. I'm in a good place. What's up with y'all, man?
I like that. I like that, E.
I like that too. It was a big win. Big spend, Arsenal, huh?
I said, I like that. You're feeling good.
Yeah. I mean, I feel good. I'm good. I'm happy. Yeah. And like Paul said, it's a big spend, but I'm happy with who we got in. But everybody's under the age of 24.
So it's a long-term play, basically.
It's a rebuilding year again.
Well, everybody we got is experienced. Everybody we got is experienced. They're just young. So
but now you guys have to mesh together and figure that out for the next 3 years, and then in the fourth and fifth, that's when you guys are actually going to be in the top five.
Well, I guess you didn't hear what I said. It's everybody's experienced. Everybody's coming from an experienced place of playing. Everybody's played over probably 50, 60 games. Professional games, and now they're coming to a bigger stage. Yeah, so 2 years, they'll be like we're like RB Leipzig of England right now.
So you're calling it 2 years. In 2 years, we're talking winning the league, or 2 years?
No. 2 years. 2 years. 2 years
to get to the fifth spot.
2 years, we'll be back in Europe. We'll be back in Champions League conversation.
Sixth place, and then UEFA.
Sixth place. I would say we'll get sixth place this year, and then Champions League next year, and we'll spend more money.
Champions League next year.
Oh my God.
No, Europa League next year. Champions League the following year.
Okay.
So sixth place this year. Sixth place
Very
this year.
ambitious.
Champions League the following year. That's not ambitious.
That's
I don't think it's ambitious. If you look at our starting lineup is quality enough. If we have everybody healthy, it's quality enough to be in Europa League.
Where did Arsenal end last season? 9?
Why are you focused in the past, bro?
I'm just asking.
No, he's just asking questions. He's trying to figure out how you feel inside.
That's it.
Like I said, I'm good.
Okay. Anything jump out in the Prem? That sort of caught your eye. Obviously.
I mean, we got Ronaldo coming back. I'm actually hyped to see it. I'm not a Manchester United fan, but I mean, it's good to see the big names back. I think that's kind of part of the COVID shakeup. As a lot of big money has stayed in the Prem, but I'm hyped to see what it looks like. I'm hyped to see. It's going to be like the old races back in the day, probably like 5-6 years ago, where it's Chelsea, Manchester City, Liverpool, United, all really, really, really going for it. Rodney, you can bring your chin.
100 mil.
Rodney, bring your chin back.
You didn't mention Arsenal in that though. We want Arsenal back though. We all want Arsenal to be a top.
But I'm a realist of our situation. I understand the situation we're in. We were in a bad spot for years. Now we're rebuilding. Okay. It's okay to be in rebuilding. It happens to everybody. It happens to every company, brand, club.
That's 100% the truth. Does that feel like it should be that way? Does it feel like with Arteta with the coach and last year, and like, does it feel like you should be in rebuild again? Like it's no, I think other Arsenal fans are losing it right now. Obviously,
it's every year, Paul.
No, it's not. I think the issue is for so long we were playing patchwork and not really like fixing any issues. So like if you, for example, I say like it's a highway. If you fix a highway by putting new pavement here and here and here and here and here, the road never really gets fixed. You're just playing patchwork. So you got to rip up the whole road and fix it, and that's the situation we're in now. So we just redid the whole highway.
Construction.
We got 6 players in, and now, like Rodney said, we got to wait for the things to dry and mend. But it's not going to take 5 years. We'll be back in 2 years.
Is Grealish going to work itself out in City? You think that's a really good move? Most expensive?
Yeah.
I mean, that's big money, right?
It's big money, but I think he's paired with the right coach and the right players around him. I mean, you got the best players in England playing with him, with the best manager in England, arguably. So.
Scoring on your debut definitely helps,
and I love seeing that. Even though I'm not a Manchester United fan,
that's what you should be doing right now when we talk about Arsenal. That's what you should be doing right here.
Exactly. That's right.
Just to tune out the noise all season long.
That's what we need.
All season long.
Yeah,
what's going on with Chelsea?
Yeah, word. What's up with Chelsea? You guys are in a good spot.
Chelsea's in a great spot, and that Atletico signing should do some wonders for them in the mid.
Unbelievable signing, unbelievable player,
and out of nowhere too. And it's a loan.
You guys,
right?
the thing is, you guys don't need him. That's what I don't understand. I don't understand that because you guys don't need him.
They're shoring up.
That's
they're shoring up for a lot of other players. Well, a bunch of guys left. They made money in the transfer, which is amazing for Chelsea. That's normally not their MO. Usually they just spend way too much money, don't really think, and they end up riding the fucking pine like it's usually a disaster with Chenji spells, with this. So we'll see. Right now it looks good. I don't like jinxing shit. That's the problem. I don't like getting all uppity. I know how people like to go.
I was trying to get you to jinx something.
I know, but I'm not going to. We're going to keep my head down.
Yeah, right. You guys are going to win the league.
He's trying to stay calm. Look at him.
I haven't said anything about winning the league.
I'm glad you haven't. Okay. You're a realist.
I mean, if we win it, we win it.
Who's going to win it this year? Who's looking like the team?
Who knows? CR7
again.
No,
City, right?
No, I don't know, man. It can go to. Listen, what could happen if Ronaldo lights it? If Ronaldo lights it up, like really lights it up, and gives that energy, they have a team. United, they have a team. They finished second. So if anything, and forget the problem is it's injury stuff. You got to look out to see what happens with that.
No, I mean, the last thing before we move on, I think it comes down to at that point, and that's that when you're playing that many games in that point in the season, you're dealing with that quality of players. It comes down to the manager. The manager makes a difference, and I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is at the same level of management that Pep and Klopp are. So for that, I think it's going to come down to man management, also injuries and all that stuff. But who's the deeper squad? City and Liverpool. In my opinion.
We haven't talked about Liverpool, actually.
We didn't talk
they're
about
the same.
Liverpool, no.
They're about the same. They've gotten better, actually. They've gotten better. They haven't lost it. Van Dijk's back, and then they signed the Kanote kid from Leipzig, who's unbelievable. So I think they haven't lost anybody. They signed Henderson again, but extended his contract.
Top 3.
Yeah, they'll be good. They'll be good. They'll be the same conversation.
Rodney, mental health wise during the transfer window, does that weigh real heavy on players? Like, is that just totally a very stressful time? Some people don't even know they're part of the conversation. Others already know, and it distracts from everything. I mean, it's got to be a super heavy moment, and it's not just a day. It bleeds out to a long period of time. So maybe give us a little insight on sort of what a player mindset's like during that window, because obviously it's different in North America, but in Europe,
I mean,
it's heavy.
During the Euros, Kane was talked about with City. There was a lot of money involved. Then we had Grealish with Man City. They were both teammates, both trying to figure out how to win the tournament, and at the same time figure out what team they were going to go to. So it's a balance of basically blocking out the noise, but at the same time staying involved enough with the performances of Euros for that to take you on to closing out the deal with your club team. So there has to be a balance of the agent doing the work, the player doing his part on the field, which necessarily that the players at that point, they don't have to overperform or do something special because they already made their names and people already know what they can do. So it's really about not getting injured, which is the number one thing. So psychologically, just making sure that you're not even thinking about injuries, because once you start thinking about, man, I can't get injured this game, that can put you in a bad spot. And that's when you get injured. That's usually when things happen. When you go in there like, nah, today I'm not going to get into any tackles. So I think that's the number one worry of a player when it comes to the transfer, quote unquote, saga. But it's also good to see Grealish get his first goal, get his second, and get a good performance, man of the match with his new club, and that just kind of solidifies where he's at in his career, where he is mentally, and where he is with his new club.
You think the trepidation of a player thinking, oh man, I can't get injured, this is going to screw up the deal, this is going to screw up whatever the new potentials are, is that a big factor to the actual deal itself? Well, at that moment, they're looking at him like, what's going on here? Is this the player we actually really want to sign? Do you think there's any sort of link there, or not really? Everybody knows that that's what their mindset is.
I would say no. By the time that the conversations are having where it's like, over money and stuff.
Personal terms and stuff. It's already been decided.
Yeah,
right?
they've already decided that they want the player. The player just doesn't have to do anything crazy. Like don't go out there and do anything outside of yourself. So don't don't try to, if you're not a guy who does a million step overs, don't come out and do a million step overs. If you're, you know what I mean? Like don't just play your game. And you just focus. I mean, I think like Rodney said, if you think about getting injured, that's probably when you get injured. Just honestly, just play like yourself. Play like yourself. Yeah.
And honestly, that happens. We see that happening in lower tier clubs or lower tier players where the transfers aren't 100 million, 150 million. We're talking about maybe 1 million less or something like that. You see that players feel like they have to put on a show to get moved. So that's when, again, players start to play outside of themselves, do step overs that they don't need to do just because they know that there's a club team that's come to watch them. So now when you're involving that much money, the whole deal is this close to being done. So, and players at that caliber know that they don't have to perform for somebody else. They just have to go through their day-to-day business.
Just be you. Being you already got you to the position you're in. Just be yourself. Continue to be yourself again.
Yeah. Transfer window, this, I'm using Europe again as an example, has led us into the internationals all over the world. It's international break, right? So for all the leagues, everybody's sort of getting themselves set up, getting to their respective teams. It's, believe it or not, November 2022 is just around the corner. Everybody's trying to make sure they lock in their locations for World Cup madness. There's some big games coming up. There's some big stuff. Like, people don't realize how important these games are, right? Is there anything that stands out specifically for you guys, team-wise, that you're either looking forward to in the next week or two, or some teams you're like, man, hope they do make the World Cup? I mean, it's now. Like, there's not much left to play. Like, they have to win these games.
For me, there's not really teams that I'm really looking out for. I mean, obviously, there's the top 20 that you always kind of want to watch, but for me, it's more the regions to keep an eye on. Like, I think CONCACAF is going to be super interesting. Who comes out of that? Because I think over the last 4 or 5 years, you've seen a lot of teams emerge as competitors. Panama just went to their first World Cup. What's their next round going to be like? Where's Costa Rica going to land? How's the U.S.?
Is the U.S. going to go to the World Cup?
Yeah, Mexico. Like, where are all those cards going to fall? But also, you look at the Oceanic area, Asia. Like, I think all of these, the world of football is moving in a direction where there's so many more teams that could potentially be involved in the World Cup that now we're actually going to see who lands where. And I think for the first time we're going to see several. We're used to seeing like 1 or 2 teams' first appearance in the World Cup. Now I think we're going to see several. I think teams are really, like, some smaller countries are having some of their players playing in bigger leagues now. So I think it's coming around, and it's I'm excited to see what happens. This is going to be.
The Italians aren't going to be dark horses this year.
No. They're no longer dark horses.
That little quiet, like, young, youthful. We have it. That's done. I mean, they're obviously someone to watch.
But it's the time frame. It's such a short window. It's not. We don't have 2.5, 3 years to prepare for the World Cup. No, right. We have literally a little bit less than a year. So every single game,
bodies.
More bodies. And now we're playing 3 games a window instead of maybe 2 or maybe 1. So the rotation and the rosters have to be larger. So players feel like they have the opportunity to hop on to a team at any given moment. So the competition, it's already raised, meaning that the leagues are going to be better. So all of this is just basically adding up for an amazing football year in general, because every single player that's in the international radar is going to want to be in the roster. And they know that at any given moment, there's an injury or there are yellow cards. And if they're in that bubble, figure out how to get your way in, because there's not that much time left. And it's exciting. That's what we want to see. We just want to see game after game after game after game.
But go ahead.
And I think management from the manager side is going to be super important. I think now we're going to see international managers even more hands-on ever than before, because now you're dealing with a larger squad with shrunken times. You're going to need to have more players involved. Like, you need to be in more ears and saying, okay, I might not need you for this game, but I might need you in a month from now, or I might need you in 2 months from now, or you might need to keep an eye on this young guy and keep him, connected with the squad, because you might need him 6 months down the road, and you might have to keep him ready, but you also might need to tell some other guys that I need you to fight for your country, but you might not make the 28 or 26 man roster to go to the World Cup because you're going to need 50 players for this year to qualify. So
but that shrunken timeline is for this segment for the World Cup. After that, it'll restart to normal. It's only because of what happened with COVID.
That's what
okay.
But I hope that it kind of stays like this.
I like that it's like this right now.
There's a lot more pressure now.
That's a test for everyone.
You mean shorter time frames between major tournaments?
Just more football, more competition, more at stake, and less of a preparation phase, because 4 years, it's a lot of time. So you have the Gold Cup, for example, in our region, you have the Gold Cup, then you have the South American Championships, and then you have the Euros, and then year after year, it's a whole cycle that changes. Within 2 years, it could be a whole new team. So you have a base of 10 players, and then the rest are interchangeable. So I like the way that this is just fast, competitive, straight to the point. Let's get to the World Cup, and everyone just kick each other into the team. That's what I like to see.
I think it'll be a test. I think it'll be a test to see how, because we're forced into the situation. I think it'll be interesting to see if they move in a direction where it's like Rodney said, quicker, because it's a little bit more exciting. But I know the players are probably going to be a little more upset about it. At least the players that are playing 50 games a year will be a little more upset about it. But it's
from the wear and tear aspect of it.
Yeah, because they're coming off of Euros, they're coming off of the league games, and now they have to go straight into mid-season because we're playing the World Cups in December, playing in the World Cup. So, I mean, I think some players might be a little bit frustrated about it, but as a supporter, as a fan of the game, I mean,
as a fan, this is amazing.
That's incredible. It's perfect. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It's perfect.
Well, it's like this year with the Euros, and then you're right back to the Premier. You're right back to the league action within a couple of weeks.
from
and
Euros
there was
to
an Olympics.
Yeah, exactly.
It was nonstop. You guys have to start making some comments about the way these boys are showing up to these camps, dressed up to the nines.
Yo,
I have a comment to make about Team France. Like, are you kidding me? There's not one player that didn't get out of the car looking like it was Fashion Week. It was amazing.
Yeah,
and that's what you want to see. That's what we want to see right there, man.
I need it. And Depay coming out with the I saw somebody call it a prohibition jacket, but it was fire. The sky blue or that Jay-Z blue or whatever, the Jay-Z blue hue or whatever you called it.
He was selling diamonds to the whole squad when he pulled in. He went like this with his
Mad Rolexes.
Got the gold from Barcelona.
Rollies on this side and diamonds on this side. Yeah, it was fire though. Fire looks. But I need to see more of that. I need to see more of that from more players. I know Rodney and I were in the locker rooms in New York. We used to joke with people. Obviously, we're not on those kind of wages, but you got to come correct, bro. You got to come correct. When you have the chance, come correct, please.
So here's a question. Do you believe in the team suit, or do you believe in?
That's a good question.
So showing up in your outfit, that's cool. Then into team suit for everybody to see you guys dressed to, you know what I mean, as a unified team, like when you do team picture, or does that not really have any relevance, or are you just down with the tracksuit? Like once everybody, again, this is the uniform look we're talking about, but the tracksuit look when everybody's pretty much just wrapped up in their, their brand apparel sort of thing.
I like a mixture of the two. I think it depends on where we're showing up as a team. So like if we're pulling up to, like, for example, those guys pulling up to camp and you pull up in your own fits, but like, come on, respect us, respect the federation. You got to pull up nice. So like,
yeah,
whether it's business casual or, fully open, just wear something that's presentable. But I also like the, when everybody on the team is tailored, like we used to be at New York and other clubs I've been on, we would go somewhere and get actually tailored suits. So I think if the people you're getting the tailored suit from is an actual legit brand and like is going to give you a nice Euro cut suit with the shoes and then the tie and all that stuff, I think it looks good. But it's got to be the right. It's got to be the right brand. Like I think Barcelona's Tom Ford or Tom Brown. I know in the past, like AC Milan's been like Gucci and Armani, like that's fire to me. But like, don't give me like don't show up with a Zara suit on.
NYCFC had when we were there, we had Not Standard, and
they
came through, gave us some nice suits, customized pieces, and that makes you feel good. You know, you pull up to a game wearing your suit. You know, you always have the guys that they just don't know what to do with the suit.
Don't know what they're doing. They're putting on
Inter Miami,
shoes.
I think, had Hellfinger, right? Tommy,
did they?
Yeah,
that's fine.
Ralph Lauren. Sorry, was it
Ralph
Lauren?
Okay.
Yeah, he did something super.
But see,
nice.
we don't see a lot of that. We want to see more. Why don't they advertise that? Put that out. And even the players, it's okay to put your pictures on social media. I feel like some players are caught up in the place between it's just being a distraction or not. Like, bro, you're given a nice suit and you're able to dress and you have a following. Like, show people that you care about what you're wearing and show the audience that you're being dressed by Ralph Lauren or Tommy or whatever it is. Like, just wear it. It's not a distraction. What you do on the field is different than what you do off the field.
And there's some ballers doing some amazing stuff on socials with, full fashion stuff. Like their whole, like you take a look at their pages and that's what it's about.
Yeah.
They're making that separation of church and state. Very important.
I'm happy to see players. Yeah, Depay and Benzema and all these guys and Hector Bellerin and all these guys are doing incredible things.
Are you happy he's out of Arsenal?
I'm happy for him.
Yeah,
I'm happy for him. I've met the guy before. He's a good guy and he's been in that one spot for so long, bro. Like I think as not only as a player but as a man, eventually you need to make a change. So for him, I think it's the best that he goes to his childhood club that he supported. His dad was a fan. And it's up for another challenge. It's kind of like a restart button to like then reestablish yourself, and give yourself a new challenge. Who knows what comes of it? It could set him back, but also it could propel him into the national team.
Yeah, or actually bring him right back to the Prem with another look. Right? It's sort of like
open doors. It opens doors.
Troy Deeney, captain, leaves, goes plays, bring him like he's gone down, and he's never been happier with that. Because taking a step back, taking a moment to sort of recalibrate, reconnect why you love the game, and then potentially that changes again. If you're young enough in the sport, you have so much time left. Like people think it's year by year goes slow or quick. It all depends on you on that, right?
Right, exactly.
But then we're talking fashion. We got to bring up this. We wanted to talk about it before. We wanted to talk about Puma.
But wait,
sorry, go ahead, Rod. Yeah,
you talked about the tracksuit, and you saw how England pulls up with their uniform. They pulled up with whatever their Nike shirts with the England logo. Up right away. But I like that too. If everyone's doing it, everyone's doing it properly. Like, it doesn't need to be everyone can do their own thing. Because, like I said, there's some players that will take it too far. I know, Ethan, you've seen a couple players that have been taking it too far with this whole fashion thing to the point where they.
I've seen a lot coming out of FC Dallas, and I got to say, I do not like it.
Yeah, but what is too far? Okay, hold on.
Let's bring that back.
So, Rodney, what is too far in fashion, in your opinion?
It gets to a point where players are doing it for a show instead of actually understanding
what they're doing.
What they even like themselves. Like, there's a comparison to what you personally like to what you see 18 players do, and you take one thing from each one of those players to the point where you're wearing a Nike shoe and an Adidas shoe. Things like it just needs to be what you like, and then you make your interpretation of what you think your fashion is. It doesn't need to be something trendy that somebody else is wearing. Wear it for yourself, and we'll be able to know that that's your authentic self right there, dog. Like, don't go past that. You're not Cam Newton, and at the same time, you're not somebody else. Like, stay on your lane, dog. I know there's a who's the player from FC Dallas that they keep posting on.
They keep putting him up there, and every single time it's like, bro, I can see what your inspiration is, but it's good to see where people draw their inspiration from. It's bad when I can literally, when your hat is a Cam Newton hat, your shoes are young thug shoes. Like, bro, you look a mess. This guy looks a mess, and they keep highlighting it. I'm like, bro, he hasn't put one good fit on.
And who's highlighting these fits on the MLS?
I don't know.
We need to speak to whoever that is because they're just picking up random.
Please call in.
Fits.
Call in.
Please somebody that came to the game with the wrinkled shirt, and then they say, that's fire. No, bro.
So anybody over at the MLS, Don Garber, if you hear Rodney, there needs to be a revamp to MLS fashion picks.
We would 100%. Like to have this conversation with you guys
because it's a reflection on the game, right? Like I feel like the football world is just breaking into this fashion cloud
in North America.
Well, in general, I feel like now footballers are being highlighted. You know, you see.
I'd say that.
You see them like in the worldwide range. You see now that they're highlighting like the French footballers, the European footballers are now being seen as the fashion icons. And then in America, we're part of that fashion world, that soccer world, the football world too. So please help the community, bro. Come correct. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, it's a movement. You see all these NFL players and NBA players, they're highlighted by GQ Sports, whatever, all over the world. And then you have MLS highlighting just random fits. You know what I mean? You're bringing us back. Come on.
Sounds good. You got to send an open letter to the league.
There's just got to be quality control. There's got to be quality control.
Maybe you can do it through the ML. Maybe you can do it through the Players Association. Maybe you can. Fix
I think we should. I think what MLS should do is they should team up with a brand or whatever, and they should have a pre-match voting thing on Instagram or something. Where like, do you rate this guy's fit? And then if he's
don't give him all your ideas. I know don't give him everything for free. They'll take it. They're gonna do it next week.
Puma, they might do it. Puma and Pulisic, big American player, obviously. Probably one of the biggest at the moment. He's changed the lives for a lot of young footballers in the U.S. That was a big move. Puma's gone because we're talking about fashion. We're continuing that conversation. They're all in, and they're really all in. I mean, they've always been around. Obviously, the whole Adidas Puma storyline is amazing history, but they're going after it again. They're going after major athletes, and they're going into culture play, and they're making all these sort of moves. You think how do you think Puma's faring so far in that? Because again, the market is the Adidas, Nike, right? Let's be honest; those are the two main players, and then everybody else is sort of. I mean, there's a major brand. There's brilliant, amazing brands out there, but Puma's trying to get itself back, I would think it sounds or looks like, into the top three with what they're doing with these athletes. Ethan, what are your thoughts, and Rod, on this, on what's going on with Puma and their sort of grab at athletes?
I think that I think Nike is still in control of everything. I think Nike is kind of slimming down where they're spending their money because they're slimming down their selection because no matter what, I think as a young baller, if I was 15, 16, 17 years old, I'm still going to want to get the Nike boots, whether because they still have, that's still the first demand. It's still my first thought is I want to wear the new Vapors. I want to wear the new Tiempos. I want to wear the new, whatever they're calling them now, the Total 90s, whatever the name is. So I think what Nike's done is they're just saying, I'm going to get the top four guys and I'm that's all I need. I only need Mbappe, Haaland. Who's the other guy?
What are you talking about in football?
And Nike.
Well, I guess you wouldn't count Cristiano. I mean, you wouldn't count that
Cristiano,
as a top. I know he's not young, but
Kane. I guess you really just want those top guys to because then they're gonna pull enough weight because now the game is so global that it's not like we're only seeing the people in certain leagues. Now we're seeing everybody. We're seeing pictures of everyone everywhere. So I think Nike's just kind of saying we're reeling it in, saying we're going to spend less money on fewer on
the long spread out.
Yeah, and rather just focus on the top core players. But I think Puma's doing a good job of getting those second tier players in specific markets. Like Pulisic is going to be the guy for America. Neymar is the guy for Brazil. I think they're gonna. That's kind of their strategy. But also you see brands like New Balance doing the same. So they got Saka and they got Balogun and they got Sterling. So I think the second tier brands are trying to now that's the race to watch is New Balance versus Puma. Who's gonna make more rounds? Puma's making more rounds in different sports. But I mean, you see them together too.
Yeah, but New Balance seems to never know 100% what they want to do. I don't know if you've noticed that, but New Balance always is in or out of football. As I don't know, I've never understood that. I don't either. For 2 years they're good in, they're all in, and then they're not in. And I've spoken to some guys over there. I'm always blown away. But if you're investing some time and you're laying that foundational work and you're getting the brand recognition on the jersey or you're getting the boots on the players, how can you 2 or 3 years later say, you know what, new NB's out of football now? We're not focused on. We're thinking just NBA basketball or whatever. What was the
tough race though? It's a tough race though.
Very tough.
Tough race.
Very.
Sometimes you have to drop out. If you can't compete, just drop out. Figure it out again. But
look at Diadora. Diadora was the top of the world at 1.2, and these guys had to, after a while. I think it's if you can't keep up with innovation, because some of these brands are. Nike's being more innovative than anybody, and Puma's coming up with it next, and that's kind of the direction that things moving in. So I think it's hard for a lot of these brands to fully invest when the it's almost like a monopoly at this point. So you have to be very selective with where you're going to get involved. So Liverpool won the Champions League in a New Balance kit. So I think they're being very selective with where they spend their money, and I think they're reestablishing themselves in football. But we'll see what happens.
But good for Puma.
I agree. And they've done a lot, pardon me, and they've done a lot sort of in the music space and the art space. So what they're doing on that second tier level, well, I know they all do it, but they've managed to get some very interesting artists on their brand as well, because Adidas definitely proved that magic recipe of musicians, athletes, artists combining signature shoes, the whole 9 yards. And actually, Rodney, you wanted to bring up something quickly before we change from fashion, sort of the excitement and the mindset of an athlete really trying hard to get a signature boot or a signature shoe to sort of be, to help stamp their legacy. And that's something that's like a Pulisic and some of the comments he's made. He mentioned some pretty big names, how he's excited to be part of Puma because of, Cruyff or Maradona and all these other guys. So he's putting himself in that,
which I don't mean that as he should.
But that's important, right? So
he's understanding that the market, he's understanding the fact that he can capitalize off being able to have his own shoe with Puma. Nike's might be too big to allow him to do that. So by him signing with Puma, Puma says, here, sign with us and we'll give you the world. And then, if he's smart enough, he says, okay, I want my own shoe that I can market as my own, as Michael Jordan did, for example. That's what Dwayne Wade did. He went from Jordan to Ling Ling because he wanted his own shoe. And there's nothing wrong with that. You're just being smart and you're capitalizing on your name and your abilities and what you've earned throughout your career. So if a player has a chance to jump to a different brand, and I wouldn't even say a smaller brand because Puma worldwide is huge. Puma's huge. So if you have the opportunity to have your own football shoe with Puma, I might even take some money off to have my own shoe. 100%. I would take
versus more money and just being one of the athletes.
You can not take as much money, but I want my own shoe. I would definitely do it because that just stays.
Or just change the structure. I mean, you could take less money up front and be like, okay, I want a percentage of each shoe sold because it has my name on it.
And that's exactly those sorts of deals.
And it looks your name is put in more places, which is better for you anyways.
For the long-term brand of you as the athlete and as what you are going to be represented as a brand.
Exactly. Well, now what you can't do is put a boo-boo shoe out. You got to put a fire shoe out.
Then you're totally cooked.
Yeah.
Right?
That's it right there, though. Because honestly, with Puma, let's say you have 3 options. You have 3 options of shoes. But within that shoe, it's your design now. What is it that's going to make you stand out? But at the same time, nothing that's going to be too crazy for people to be like, okay, this is cool now, but next year we definitely don't want that again.
Definitely.
So you have to have the right team behind you, and you have, as a player, that's when your creativity has to come into play. You have to know exactly what it is that you want to do, and not again look at other players and their shoes and how can you mold your shoe after theirs. No, it's your time now. You're grown. You've earned the right to have your own shoe. Come up with something proper that we can appreciate.
Right.
But good for them.
Yeah, that's cool. No, exactly. We wanted to bring it up, and we're all going to keep our eyes on it 100%. So something we like to do towards the end of the show, right, guys? We're going to talk about goals that just happened this past week and sort of looking forward ahead to what's going on next week. Does anybody have something they want to call out about a goal that they saw during the Prem or in one of the leagues that they like to follow last week that really stood out. I definitely have mine, and then we go from there to sort of say what's up for the week ahead, and then that's our sweet show, boys.
I mean, I'll highlight. I don't have really a specific goal. I just got to highlight. I mean, Depay. Memphis Depay, I think in 2 years is going to be in the conversation of Ballon d'Or. I think him there. He might even be better without Messi there, honestly. Because I think now he's the guy to watch. And now with Griezmann going back to Atletico, I think he's going to be the man that gets the ball and makes things happen. But every single time you see him get the ball, something happens. I think that in the game they just played, the first minute he gets the ball, they score. I mean, he just draws defenders. He's able to beat defenders. He's able to pass the ball. He's able to finish. I think he's the man to watch. I mean, I don't have a specific goal because they scored several goals in that match, but I think just watching him throughout the beginning of the season, he's unbelievable.
You heard it here first, though, Paul. Right?
Ballon d'Or, 2 years.
Memphis. Yeah.
Okay.
Ballon d'Or. I think he's gonna. I said he's gonna be in the conversation. I win, but he'll be in the conversation in 2 years. Within 2 years.
Good.
Fair, Rod.
Me, not a specific goal, but I am again. I gotta go back to the MLS and highlight what DC is doing, bro. I think DC is gonna once they get to the playoffs, is gonna be a problem for teams just because of the fact that not to say they're unpredictable. I think teams know what to expect from them and they fear it because it's hard work and it's tactics, and now they have the talent and the players have the confidence to score goals. He's got a combination of young players and experienced players, and he's getting the best out of every single one of the men on his roster, from number 1 to number 28. Every single player is playing. I've seen this guy, I've seen the head coach bring a player from the lower team, from Loudoun, and now he's starting players that played on Loudoun last year, and he's making them look like veterans that have been playing for 5 years.
Well, so, let me ask you this, Rodney. Let me ask you this. Do you and I have been in playoff situations before? Obviously, MLS is a different monster. MLS playoffs is different than the regular season, and it comes a lot to the managers will a lot of times will over tinker in playoffs, or the players will be swallowed by the pressure. Do you think that this club, DC, can withstand that? I mean, obviously, I want them to, but we watch MLS. We've seen the playoffs that a lot of teams switch it on and they're different. They're in a different mode.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
We've seen some good teams go into the playoffs and fold
because of the managers being too naive,
or the players being swallowed up by the pressure.
Right. But if you look at DC, how they're playing and what the coach Hernan is doing, is he's not fearing and he's not overthinking. He's got maybe 3 systems that he wants to play, and he'll do the 3 in the back, he'll do the 4-4-2, or he'll do the 4-3-3. And within that system, every single player knows exactly what to do because of how he rotates. So if one player's out, the next player knows exactly what to do. And when all they want to do is get to the playoffs, honestly, I know that this dude wants to be in first place, and every single team in the Eastern Conference they don't want to see DC in the playoffs just because DC can play that good at home and they can play even better away. I'm telling you, this team's a problem. And Jordi Reyna right now, he's coming back into his own, and it's just the confidence that you get from your manager and you get from your whole team. As you can see, when anybody on that team scores, everybody goes to celebrate with the rest of the squad.
Proper team atmosphere.
Yeah, they're having fun, bro. They're having fun. It's not the competition is healthy, because when you see even your bench jump onto the player that just scored and the player that scored run to their bench,
fake that. No.
That means that the whole team is connected. That's
there's a cohesiveness that the staff and the coaching, everybody in the club, everybody involved, front and back, has made it possible.
Everybody's bought in. Everybody's bought
in. Right.
All right.
What about you, Paul?
Well, I'm going to throw it out quickly, and then we're going to wrap it up. But for me, it's not a goal, or it is a goal, and it's Arsenal-Chelsea. I'm bringing it back, Ethan, because that red card bullshit that went down in that game with Liverpool. And it's not Arsenal; it's the Liverpool game. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
that just happened, and James gets a red for having a little play in the net there. No good. That lit me up like you've never.
You didn't think it was a red card?
No, that's a yellow and a pen. No problem. That's not a red
impossible.
card.
Impossible. You know why? You know why it's impossible? Because if his hand's there, it goes in the goal. If his hand's not there, it goes in the goal.
Yellow, pen, no problem.
Nope, that's not how the rules work.
Actually, the rules are for interpretation, my friend.
Thanks to the VAR, we're all referees now. We all can make our own decisions.
And they didn't even give him VAR; they gave him a clip. He didn't get to watch.
That is a problem. I agree with you there. That is a problem.
Still element. If you're supposed to, video.
That is a problem.
Video means video.
But I do think if it doesn't matter if he's on the goal line. It's not like he's like 6 yards out. He's on the goal line, and if it hits his hand and it's gonna go in the goal, it's a red card.
Any matches that we're excited about this week?
Well, yeah, Canada-US, dude.
What is your realistic prediction for that?
Canada-US?
Yeah,
I think it's gonna be a draw.
That's your realistic prediction.
Yeah,
and that's a great result for Canada. That's
unbelievable.
That's 3 points. That means 3 points for Canada, basically.
Canada has totally transformed. Well, dude, you can laugh all you guys want.
No, it's true. It's 3 points.
No, I'm not.
Listen to me. This is a really good-looking team, but there's so much to be done still. But this is they got to get that. They got to get a draw. I hope they get a win, but they got to get a draw. All I want to see is both these North American teams in the World Cup. That's all I care about. That's just good for the sport. And it's good for this entire part of the world.
Yeah, I agree. I think I was laughing at Rodney saying it's 3 points for you guys.
Yeah,
no.
It's not even. It's a real thing, bro. It's a real statement. I mean, I've been in a situation where a point is 3 points. If a point is a win. If I get 1 point in Mexico, it's a win.
Totally. Yeah. The same way Chelsea drawing 1-1 against Liverpool was a win, in my opinion. I'm sorry, I don't think so. There, they held them 10 men down for 45 minutes.
If you look at the circumstances, I'm saying you don't go into that match saying as your 1-1 draw.
Oh yeah, they're not going. Sorry, pardon me. Of course not. No, but when you get a red, when the tables turn,
yes,
I say that. Yeah, I said at the end that it was a victory. It had nothing to do with the draw. We survived
being a man down is
and we survived it because it was an onslaught.
Canada's scaring me right now, actually, because Costa Rica is not at their best, and Canada is feeling themselves right now. So adding Canada into the mix is just adding another problem for Costa Rica. But Costa Rica performs when it comes to qualifiers, so I don't have any doubts on that. But Canada is just like another brick that's standing in front of.
Who's Costa Rica playing next?
Costa Rica's playing Panama. They're playing Jamaica.
But in this cycle,
It's Panama. Then they got Jamaica.
Okay, amazing.
And then they got Mexico. They got Mexico and Jamaica at home, and they play in Panama. So that's 3 games in the week.
In Panama.
And that's what we're talking. In Panama.
Ethan, who are you? Any game you're looking out for?
Ethan looks out for Panama. That's your team, right?
I'm starting.
Panamanian.
I'm not Panamanian, but I'm starting to follow them because my girl, fiance now.
Congrats, by the way.
Congrats.
Thanks, family. Thank you.
Making a big step.
I'm trying to get that citizenship after we signed this paperwork. But for real, I don't know. I'm gonna watch all the games. I don't have a specific game. I mean, obviously Canada US. I'm gonna watch that just trash talk, but. I want to watch the Costa Rica Panama game now that I know it's in Panama. That'll be interesting.
That'll be good.
That stadium will be packed out.
All right, Jay. And that's great. Different parts of the world have had no fan situation in the stadium.
Yeah, I don't know what the rules are there.
Just a friendly reminder for everybody as we're saying goodbye to leave a 5-star review on the Apple podcast, Spotify, wherever you're listening to this podcast or anywhere you get this juice. Show us the love, follow us, check out the handles, send us DMs, talk to us, get involved because we want to build this community, build this group. Remember to subscribe to the podcast. If you've missed any of the episodes, you can check it out online. And remember that to follow us on Instagram and Twitter is Proper Football, and on TikTok it's Football FUTBOL. I hope you guys had a good one. I'm excited about next week and catching up with you. And let's do this, man. Have a good week.